Hi friends, another quick one. Well, I say that. Wow. It's Angie, it's March 18th. Weirdest, second weird St. Patrick's Day, but there you go. I was gonna make a video, right, okay. I'm sorry, I'm so fat. I'm horrified at how fat I am. But look, you know, Jesus loves me. And it'll be okay, you know. I'll get my health back. I'm going to dream again of getting my health back. Even in my 60s, I will get my health back. But I was going to, so I'm redirecting a little bit. I'm going with the flow of the river. And I think I'm going to focus a little bit less on YouTube and the charlatans out there and the trolls and government agents and all that stuff. And I think, because I'm thinking to myself, like, because I really thought I was for hospital. I really thought I was in bad shape. I thought I was dying. I couldn't breathe. I've been on nebulizer daily and steroids and antibiotics and, like, but prayers what sorted it. But so when you think you might die, you think, what do I want to leave behind? And I do feel that a dream I need to... I've written several books, it's just I haven't followed through with publishing and marketing. You know, I've got several books. My first love was acting, but that was mostly like programmed in a bit and dissociation dependent. It's like, what was it, the Stanislavski school, or what was that school where you have to become the character you're portraying? Well, for me, with DID and many others, you know, many others who act, that was the price you paid, that you acted out of dissociation. It wasn't a choice, you know. But, so my first love was acting. And then I had a gift for writing and poetry and broadcasting and public speaking. That was probably my second love. But overriding all is my first love is to let people know, especially survivors, that there is healing available. There is healing. There is a God. He has a son. And he paid the price to heal us. So I was going to... So I'm going to try and focus on writing the book. So it's a trilogy, that's how I originally planned it, but let God be God. And I've got some people investing in it a little bit and believing in it, you know. And so instead of me, I mean, I do want to finish doing the readings of Fiona Barnett's book and the Rains List, but at the same time I also, because a lot of people used to ask me to ghostwrite, you know, and I used to say, look, I need to write my own shit. Sorry to be vulgar, but I need to write my story, you know, and not get sidetracked into ghostwriting, even though it can be very rewarding, and you know. So I was thinking to do a video about Marbella 1982. Which is very exciting and glamorous and Adnan Khashoggi and blah, 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 Brett, all the rest of it. But I just got a prod in the spirit, I think it was. I was going through my comments and there was a trollish comment from, you know, somebody saying karma's a bitch. And normally with trolls, I just screenshot, block, report. But when I go to the channel, and occasionally there are videos on that channel, I think, okay, this is a person. And I know one of the well-known trolls who probably attempted to murder John Patterson outside Southwark Crown Court. John Kilrush Guitars. But I have a love for music, guitar especially. And I have a compassion. I don't want to dwell in that land, but I do get compassion sometimes for people hung up and tied up and trapped into the occult. Satanism. You know, I said once that punk rock was probably driven by children's home survivors, because most of them never heard, never got justice, never rescued, came out of that system with such rage. And the other side of trauma in the formative years is that sadly it endows you with superpowers. It does. I'm like researched Dr. Paul Hegstrom about the brain pathways. If you traumatize a child while the brain pathways are still forming, while the brain is still developing, in the first 7 years, according to the Jesuits, 12 at the maximum. Now they do it different ways, but my MK Ultra, the trauma had to start very early. And one of the benefits, according to the mad scientists, was the victims will develop genius abilities, or like just accessing more of the 10% that most people access of the conscious mind. So most people access 10% and 90% is subconscious. But if you traumatize while the brain pathways are still developing, and Jason, Jasun, author of Vice of Kings, contacted me over this research, and it's really experiential. I'm not a researcher, I'm just telling what happened, and using the programming that was instilled in me for evil, I'm using it for good. I'm using it to expose. So a lot of the children's home survivors came out raging and gifted, and I think they were the core of the punk rock movement. But sadly, musicians, especially if they get pulled in, because music and movies were used for the Luciferian agenda, a lot of them got pulled into Satanism or occultism. Aleister Crowley, Madame Blavatsky, all that, rubbish, Gardner, Wicca, blah, blah. They got pulled into the wrong side. So I just want to share, I'm going to share a video on this channel that I thought was a troll. It might be a troll, might be a Satanist, might be an occultist. Sadly, Nathaniel Harris, who's been whistleblowing on the UK occult, pagans, Wiccans, Satanists, he's been whistleblowing on their paedophilia, and sadly his channel's gone down. And I pray he'll come up with another channel, but he's also writing a book with all his evidence, more than a decade. He's a child of, here, just watch out for Nathaniel Harris. Now, a lot of what he teaches and talks about, just a child of the occult. This is why I talk about having empathy, because it's like, oh yeah, I fancy you, do you want to have a threesome? Like, no. And it's like, I can do magic, that makes me valid. Like Jimmy Savile was the royal sorcerer, the royal magician, the court magician. Don't sell yourself short. But look, I'm not going to preach. I just want to share a little bit about one of the engagements to marry that I got walked into, the hidden hand. And it was, I can't even remember his real name, but he was a rock musician, Anglo-German. He had a German mother, I think, and an English father. And he made it big in Germany in a band. And he was known as Gypsy. I think he was the bass player. And he woke up beside the lead singer of the band, dead in bed. They'd both crashed out on heroin or whatever. And the lead singer didn't make it. He was dead. And I was doing backing vocals. This is just towards my book. If you don't want to know, jog on, go to another channel, that's fine. But I was singing backing vocals and dancing in an African highlife Makossa band in Brixton, in the Ken Livingstone giddy days of the early 80s, when festivals in the park were huge. We did backing for Aswad, was it called? I don't know. We had an audition at Slane Castle. We played at Ronnie Scott's. We were bubbling up, definitely. And so we did a gig in the George Canning in Brixton, which was a pretty happening pub in the 80s with live music every weekend. We did a gig there, and this rather beautiful, with hindsight, occultic looking musician just honed in on me and came home with me and didn't go for a couple of years, or a year, I don't know how long, I think about a year. Gypsy. Absolutely gifted musician. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the songs he wrote, the way he could make a guitar talk, the voice, the pain, the pathos, the passion. He had recovered from heroin addiction when his bandmate died. And he moved in with me. I don't know how that happened. More of that hidden hand stuff. But Gypsy was his name, but he was, you've got to be careful. The Bible says don't be unequally yoked. I can't remember, I think I was a Christian, was I? In 1982, 83? I think it was 1983. Yeah, I think I was a Christian. I hadn't emigrated yet to America. Oh, I'd been born again, but I didn't get discipled, so I didn't really walk in it. And it was pretty lovely, except even though he was clean and sober, he didn't drink, and he wasn't doing heroin or anything like that, because I've always been against drugs. But he was wanting to be a gigolo. So he was wanting, he lived off me, to be honest. I was working in the West End, and he was writing songs and living off the prospects of his next album. And if I came home and I was upset with him about something, he'd just write me a song, and it would be stunning and beautiful. And Gypsy, stunning, beautiful, beautiful man, but just lost. And he tried to pull me into, this is just for my book, he tried to pull me into this Stop the City movement. Some of my followers will remember this from 1983. It was like a once-a-year event. And I mean, I'd had my flirtation with left-wing activism at university at Warwick. I'd inadvertently ended up leading an occupation of the Senate for 10 days and a nationwide protest against Maggie Thatcher's policies for students. But he was in with some strange people, Gypsy. I don't know if he's still alive, I don't know. But he tried to get me involved with this Stop the City protests once a year in London. And I'd been working in a merchant bank and moving with high flyers, and I just sold the key to my Water Gardens apartment in 1982. So I was only passing through Herne Hill and doing gigs, including at the George Canning. But I think I said no to going on the protests. But it's mad, we go to the City of London and, we spray paint graffiti on the banks and things like that. I'm thinking, I used to work for them. So I think I used to bow out of his days of activism and turn a blind eye to he was smoking weed. And I think cannabis is a herb and it can be health-giving, But I've always said, including to anybody, people, youngsters I've fostered or even my children, don't go there in terms of being so laid back that you're horizontal, because it will steal your potential, it will steal your motivation, it will steal your ambition. So he was compensating with weed, having quit heroin and other things, with which I was not familiar. But he wasn't working, he was just writing songs, which is a good thing to do, and playing the guitar and what have you, and I was trotting off to work every day and paying all the bills. And then I think we lasted a year. His album was awfully drawn out about coming out. And then one day I came home from work early and found him in bed with who I thought was a friend. I was still a bit new agey back then, and I had a friend who was a masseuse. I can't remember. I was going to say shiatsu, but that's a dog. There's some form of massage. I was always into healing remedies, and yeah, she was in bed with my boyfriend, and I remember coming in and being utterly shocked, it's like they were so shocked at me interrupting them, and she had blonde hair, and she almost hid when she saw me. I opened the bedroom door and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. And prior to that, Gypsy had run up £600 on my landline while I was working, and I was so codependent. Instead of just ending it, the minute I saw he was starting to be financially abusive and controlling, I used to take the phone to work. How insane is that? I used to take the phone to work in an attempt to stop him calling his friends in South Africa. I can't remember what that was about. And running up £600 bills. But another time, I'm so embarrassed about these codependent relationships. Another time, I gave him my debit card to go to the bank and get 20 quid out or something. And he made excuses for a few days that it was in his back pocket, or it was here, or don't stress, don't hassle me, don't you trust me. When I got it back in 1983, my account was 600 quid down. That's how much fun he had with my card, so. And then finally he came home to Ireland where my parents lived, because we were engaged. Stupid me. He came home to Ireland with me on the ferry to ask my parents' blessing on our, engagement. And there was something weird happened. I think it was something like the ring he gave me went overboard on the ferry. Can't remember if that was on the journey here or the journey back. And then we came to stay at the farm, and I came to introduce him, this rocker with skinny jeans and stunning and black goth, whatever, just beautiful specimen, but just not what a parent would want for their daughter to marry. But anyway, we came to the farm to stay for a few days, and he would walk 2.5 miles into the town and go into the Dublin bar and flirt or be flirted with, including with the landlady. Outrageously. And so for some, I think that there's something about when you bring someone home to your own hometown, which I consider Oldcastle to be since 1981 anyway, but then things sharpen into focus. And when I saw that he probably went to bed with at least one person in Oldcastle on our engagement visit, or if not would have gladly, and the engagement ring falling into the Irish Sea on the boat, And then I can't remember the sequence of finding him in bed with my physical therapist, or finding my card down 600 quid, or my phone bill up 600 quid. I finally got the courage to just say, you know what, just, I don't care how beautiful you are, I don't care how many songs you write, this is not going to work, you know. And the tragic thing was, he was writing amazing songs. And when I got rid of him, when I told him you have to go, they were on cassettes. It was back in 82, 83. And he shredded them into the fireplace. And he used to say this thing of wherever I lay my hat, that's my home. And he had a Trilby hat that he used to wear. So I came back from work. When I said to him, you've got to go, it's not working. This is not what I want in a husband. You know, you're very talented. I'm sorry your bandmate died in bed beside you. I'm sorry your career seems to be decimated, but this isn't working. When I came home from work, he'd cut his hat in half and laid it on the fireplace and shredded all the tapes of his original songs and put them in the fire. And it was very sad. So, I don't know if he's alive, Gypsy. I can't believe I don't recall your real name. I was proposed to 11 times. I was engaged 3 times. I was married and divorced twice. MK Ultra Nightmare train wreck. But that's the story of Gypsy, so that's towards my book. And if you're out there, Gypsy, I forgive you. And make music, but I suspect he may have died. He had a self-destruct. Oh yeah, that's so. I won't just click off yet. I'm going to share you some music, because John Kilrush is apparently, he's just a Satanist and a troll, in my opinion, and from my research and others' research. But the musical ability, this is what wrecks my head. It's like, you got seduced, you got pulled into the occult, and that's very sad. And if you've got gifts and talents, come out and be separate from all that shit and ask God to consecrate your talents and redirect them. So I'm going to close this video. I don't know who this account is that made a nasty comment, but like, I forgive you. Let's find it. But I'm going to play you out with a video he shared. Because it's amazing. And it just makes me so sad. So this is a channel called The Songman with 4 subscribers. But let's just go there, right? Because I always, when I get trolled, I go and check out the channel. How many subscribers, how many videos? There's only 4 subscribers. But there's a lot of videos. And clearly this person loves music, as do I. So I'm going to play this out, and I'm going to ask you to pray for anybody that got sucked into the occult scene through music, that they would come out, you know. And, you know, let's see. Look at the wolf. I just said look at the wolf because Elisa of the Hampstead case has adopted that. It's very significant in the satanic world. Oh God. too much more because fair use 107. It's okay to share other people's uploads under the Fair Use Act and with commentary. I might leave a link to his channel and just ask you to pray, but like, don't stay there. You know, be saved by grace or be removed from my space. It's like, I'm not going to waste time praying for people that don't want prayer and don't want to come out of the occult. But sometimes it just hits my heart, and when it's someone that loves music as much as I do, like Ronnie Lane came to rehearsals with our band on the King's Road. You know, I love that. I love that man. I love his music. I love guitar. So just if it's kind of like a one-stop opportunity for survivors of abuse, because most Satanists, I wonder if I can dare to say this, probably have been abused in their childhood. The real dirty, heavy duty, sorry to say that, but the intergenerational ones, you know, that maybe there's a chance for them to come out. I don't know. That's up to God. But I'll leave a link to that channel. Check it out. Pray for John Kilrush. Pray for, you know, although it's hard because he nearly killed John Patterson and probably had a lot to do with him being silenced and locked up in a psych unit. Pray for John Patterson. He's got a court case in April. But they've done a chemical kosh on him. Shadow of the man he used to be, from being force medicated and incarcerated in a psych unit. But yeah, I just, you know, music is music is powerful, and my heart hurts as somebody that loves music and, you know, sang and, you know, danced and played percussion and stuff when I could breathe. It hurts my heart to see people that love music pulled into the darkness. So that's it. That's just Gypsy. Gypsy from Germany. If you're out there, Gypsy, say hi. And I forgive you.